When it comes to the various beliefs from around the world, one thing reigns true. There's always some form of underworld and afterlife. Most are already familiar with the Abrahamic form of this, and many have heard of Hades in Greek mythology, and depending on how you die would determine if you go to Valhalla or Hel in Norse mythology. But what about the Duat? You're probably not familiar with the name, but I bet you're aware of the weighing of the heart against the feather. Now those hamster wheels are turning, I bet. The Duat is the Egyptian underworld where the weighing of the heart takes place. However, it's more than just the weighing of the heart that happens there, and you're about to find out what else goes down, for this is Tell Me About It, the Duat. According to ancient Egyptian texts, the Duat is dark, dangerous, divided by regions, and each region has its own trials and challenges that a soul must overcome to reach the paradise of the afterlife. The Duat landscape is also very complex as it was made up of caves, rivers, mountains, islands, fields, and even had locations such as lakes of fire, magic trees, and walls of iron. Separating each region was a gate, and there are 12 gates in total. This is representative of the 12 hours of time it took Ra to traverse the Duat. It's said Ra would go to the underworld and battle the primordial chaos personified, Apep. While there, Ra would light up the Duat, since he is the embodiment of the sun, he can sort of do that, no big deal. And this light would give energy to the dead, and they would continue on their journey to the Hall of Truth. If the soul didn't make it through all the gates into the Hall of Truth in the time it took Ra to traverse through the Duat, then the soul would go to sleep and wait for the next 12-hour cycle. The spirits of the deceased weren't the only thing roaming around the Duat. It's said that fantastical animals also roamed the land, demon-like spirits made their home there, as well as some gods, namely Osiris, who is king of the underworld. Along with him was Anubis, Horus, Hathor, and Maat. There are lesser gods who are at the gates between regions who will test the soul. And going back to those demon like beings, they would roam around acting as a hindrance for the souls passing through. Unfortunately, lots of misinformation about them has been passed around saying that these demon like entities are evil and the Duat is a place of punishment. This simply isn't the case. Unlike demons found in Christianity lore, the demon-like entities found in the Duat aren't evil and in fact aren't demons. These are spirits who have no identity of their own because they failed the weighing of the heart. When this happens, their heart is eaten by Amet and they lose their individuality and intellect. Their very existence ceases, and all that is left is basically a husk. The gods then use those husks for various tasks and challenges for the souls journeying through the Duat. The ancient Egyptians' biggest fear in death was the loss of identity. That's why it's no fire and brimstone or endless torturous punishment like seen in other afterlives. Losing yourself was the biggest and in many ways worst punishment. Because of the dangers and maze-like environment of the Duat, souls were given something to help protect them and help them reach their end destination. This item is the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead was not only used as a guide, but also a magic tome that helped ward off those demon-like entities, helped them pass some of the gods' trials, and even provided them with the secret names of the gods. Without the Book of the Dead, many souls would never reach the end journey, which was the Hall of Truth. When the soul finally makes it to the Hall of Truth, there's one more step before having their heart weighed. Anubis will take the soul to stand before Osiris and 42 judges, where the soul would give negative confession, meaning a confession of sins the person did not commit in life. There's no set list of negative confessions, and it would differ from person to person. After this, the heart was handed over to Osiris, and the reason why it's a heart is because that is where the soul is housed, in the heart. Osiris would place the heart on the golden scales to be weighed against Maat's feather. A misconception about the weighing is that the person had to live a good life without committing any type of wrongdoings. That's not the case at all. It was okay if the person wasn't perfect. All that was asked for was that the person lived a decent and as morally correct as possible life. If the heart was heavier, then it was devoured. And then the person loses who they are, their existence. If the heart were lighter, then the soul was permitted to enter Aru, also known as the Field of Reeds, which was the Egyptian paradise. While the Duat isn't discussed as much as, let's say, Hades, its influence had a major effect on how the ancient Egyptians lived life and prepared for death. And through it, we learn how ancient Egyptians tried to stay on a morally good path. For if they didn't, their very existence was lost. So just think for a minute and ask yourself this: would you want to be erased from all of existence? And now we've reached our end. You said tell me about the Duat, and now you've been told. Thank you all for watching, and if you have a request for a future Tell Me About It, let us know in the comment section down below, or let us know on social media, and those links can be found in the description below. Thank you again for watching, and we will be seeing you next Tell Me About It.